Are you tired of not feeling like that bitch? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to That Bitch Energy, the podcast. I'm your host, Bianca, and let's get into this next episode.
Ain't a bitch like me. I'ma come up on ya. Ain't nobody warned ya.
Welcome back to another episode of That Bitch Energy, the podcast. I'm your host, Bianca. Welcome. I'm so excited to be with you today. Today, our topic is how to not feel guilty when we prioritize ourselves. Because I know that's one thing I have struggled with in my life is when I decide to say no, when I decide to say yes because it's for me and that's affecting somebody else, I tend to feel guilty. And here I am not allowing the guilt to take over me anymore. And I will say I am more empowered than ever to choose and prioritize myself. So we're going to dive into it and talk about how we can do that. And if that sounds like it's you, well, stick in there with me because this one's for you. I know I'm not the only one who has guilt when they decide to prioritize themselves. I have friends, girlfriends, coworkers who have all felt guilt in saying no to someone or saying yes to someone because that's the best thing for them. Let's talk about why so many of us are feeling guilty when we put ourselves first. For a lot of us, this comes from deep conditioning. Maybe we grew up in households where sacrificing ourselves made us good in the family, made us the good one in the family. Or maybe society has taught us as women, hello patriarchy, we're supposed to be caregivers, nurturers, always putting others before ourselves. Here's the thing, those messages are so outdated and they're harmful. When you're ignoring your own needs, you're not being a martyr. You're being a doormat. And babe, we're not gonna be a doormat anymore. We're not allowing that into our world, are we? Because we're that bitch. That bitch, don't do that. So, one of the most important ways to prioritize ourselves is to set boundaries. Boundaries are a form of self-love. They're not walls to keep people out. They're just, think of it as a fence just to protect your energy. Like, you just close it a little bit. You might be able to still see on the other side of it, but we're not going to let them completely in and take over our hearts and what we do and who we are. Let's think of a mantra that we can do to strengthen those boundaries. No is a complete sentence. Say it with me. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking care of yourself. And if someone can't respect those boundaries, well, we don't need those people in our lives, do we? And remember, every time you're saying something that doesn't serve you, you are abandoning yourself. You are hurting yourself. And every time you say no to something, you're saying yes to yourself. Now, let's talk about the ripple effects of self-prioritization. I hope I said that right. Here's the truth. When you prioritize yourself, it's not just good for you, it's good for the collective around you. Think about it. When you're well-rested, fulfilled, happy, doing things you love, being with people you love, or recharging on your own, spending quality time with yourself, you're a better partner, a better friend, a better parent, a better sister, a better daughter, whatever it is. You'll be your best self. So I like to call that a ripple effect. You're rippling out into the world. When you start taking care of yourself, you ripple out positive ripples. And let's talk about how guilt is really a liar. Let's call guilt out for what it is. A liar. Guilt is a liar. Guilt is telling you that you're doing something wrong. In reality, you're doing what's necessary. Guilt is not your truth. Your truth is that you deserve to take up space, to have your needs met, and to live a life that feels good to you. So if guilt is creeping in, ask yourself, whose voice is this? Is it your mom? Is it society? That toxic friend who used to make you feel small? Recognize that voice. Thank it for trying to protect you. Give it its moment and drop the mic because it's not yours to carry. Let's talk about some tools to prioritize ourselves without that guilt. Start your day by asking yourself questions. What do I need today? Is that time? Is that rest? Is that movement? Is that connection? Then put yourself on your schedule. Like it would be any important meeting. Put it on your schedule. Meeting with me. You ask yourself what you needed and spend that time doing what you need for yourself. Another way is to affirm affirmations. Repeat this to yourself. I am worthy of my own care and attention. Maybe stick that on your mirror on a sticky note. Maybe stick that on your phone. like as your background, or maybe put it on your computer and every time you open it, it's right there and you see it every single day. Whatever it is you look at every single day, maybe it's on your car, maybe it's in the kitchen, whatever it is, you know you're going to see it daily. Write affirmations, put it where you'll see it. Practice saying no. Say no to something minor and see how it makes you feel. It will get easier the more you practice. So I want to share a little bit of my own story and how saying no was really hard for me up until my mid to late 20s. I remember going to Germany. This was like the first real trip that I went on with my family, one of my sisters and my mom. And anyway, we went out in Germany and me and my sister met these young guys. And my sister was like ready to have fun, ready to party, ready to meet new people. And this one guy kept saying things to me. And I was so young, I was 16 at the time. And he was saying things that I was clearly uncomfortable with. And my sister looked at me, she was like, do you not know how to say no? And I got so red and I was like, and in that moment, I realized I had a really hard time saying no. And I'm grateful that my sister pointed it out to me, like how special that I had a very positive mirror. She was a mirror saying, do you not know how to say no? Because you could just say no to that guy. And I still hadn't said no. I was so afraid to say no. I was afraid that saying no would upset the other person and that would lead me into a more difficult situation. And it went way deeper than just that one experience and one story. So thankful to my sister for even pointing that out. But over time, I learned to quiet the voice of like, oh, if I say no, it's going to cause more danger. I'll be unsafe. My life will be in danger. I quiet that voice because that's not always the case. Like simple things like, can you do this for me? And I just don't have the brain capacity, time, energy, whatever it is. The answer is no. And I will honor that no. And I will honor what I need to do for me. And that voice has gotten more quiet with time. So that's why I'm sharing this episode today. Prioritize yourself and let go of that guilt, baby. Let go of your guilt. You can say no because you're that bitch. That's simple. So here's my challenge for you guys this week. I want you to do one thing that prioritizes you. It could be as simple as going on a 10-minute walk, a 5-minute meditation, or simply just saying no to something you don't want to do. And when the guilt creeps in, remind yourself, I am worthy of my own care. And if this episode has resonated with you, share it with someone else who you know it might resonate with as well, who can't seem to say no without having guilt. And don't forget to tag me on Instagram at thatbitchenergy. Follow me at thatbitchenergy if you don't already. And share the gift of this episode to someone you know needs it. Thank you for watching. I can't wait to see you in the next one.
Ain't nobody seen a bitch like me. I'ma come up on ya. Ain't nobody want